Let's go to Cory. Cory, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome to the show.
Hello, could you hear me?
Yes, I can. Coming through loud and clear. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to take your volume down a bit because you're coming through hot.
Test, test, test.
That sounds better. Here we go. All
All
right.
right, sounds good.
Welcome to the show, Cory. What do you have for us here today?
Well, first of all, thank you to producer Mike and Leah, if I'm saying that correctly. Sorry.
It's just Leah. It's spelled
Oh,
like
Leah,
that, but
okay.
it's just pronounced Leah.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you for this opportunity. I really want to thank that. And I like this whole community, by the way. If you're familiar with High Impact Flicks, he's another content creator. You guys
Yes.
have amazing communities. You guys are very open to speaking to the fellow people that you produce content to, and I think that's very good as a content creator. And I actually produce content myself, but that's regardless of the point. So I have a lot of information to share. A lot of information I believe is actually transformative rather than informative. And I can probably go on for an hour just on disclaimers itself, but I'll make the very clear, big disclaimer that the fact I expect questions to be made of what I'm about to introduce. I expect you to be very curious about what I'm about to offer here. Not really offer, but really just show you what I'm up to working on, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm involved in like the health field in particular. Just a little background on me. I produce video content on BitChute as well, YouTube. Although YouTube got me censored obviously a couple times, not a surprise. But I'm making my way through all that. I've been a researcher for a while too, and I just want to say you're my favorite researcher. Okay, getting to the point.
Thank you. I appreciate
So
that.
yes, the getting to the point. I'm also from Pennsylvania, by the way.
Okay.
So I will be talking to all my neighbors, and I've already talked to certain individuals that are rather close to me because I'm waiting a little bit because of all the protests and everything going on. I don't want people to think of me as if I'm part of them, for example. And a
Yes.
lot of people are too scared about the virus going around. Like, oh, some people already, as it is, don't want to answer their house door. It's crazy how neighbors don't
Oh,
already
yeah.
talk to each other.
Yep.
There's signs everywhere in this world that we're in quite a bit of trouble, I would say. But what I have to offer here is a movement. Now, okay, right off the bat, okay, we don't want to start cults, right? We don't want to be on this side or that side. We want to simply live our lives and do the right thing, objective right thing. And it's important to understand perhaps all the different aspects. Some people will look into it more than others. Some are more inclined to look into it more than others, and I expect that. I expect certain individuals to just jump on board if they don't even know much about the underlying foundation to say the building that then gets created. I'm sorry if I sometimes speak a little different. I'm a poet as well.
Oh, no problem.
Um, it's kind of a tendency of mine, but
So you're getting at that you have some sort of a project or a
yes,
movement to launch. Now, how would this
right.
operate or work, and what is the nature of it?
Yes, actually, you said it right there. It's a blueprint I would consider. So a lot of people in the truth community, I have a lot to criticize of the independent media community, actually. A lot of people in the truth community, they generally know what has to be done. And like you say, why is a very important question. It gets to the root cause. It's how we get to the root cause. But I just said it there. I also said how. How is a very big question, in my opinion, because we don't typically have a blueprint or one unifying blueprint between all the independent medias that can bring people together, at least in one counter agenda against the main agenda, of course, by the elites. So what I'm offering here is generally a unifying one counter agenda. You can say it's pro-freedom, pro-truth, pro-humanity. These are things that hopefully the whole world can agree upon. I know Alex Jones even said to you when you were on his show that natural law is more of a unifying field theory. And that's exactly what the natural law often is, in my view of it, at least. And I even have on 6-step speculation on the website of this movement I created, NITA.ONE, NITA.ONE, in case you want to pull it up or look at it. The front page is all you need to know. This is the one underlying premises, which I call it, the foundation to which everything can stand. You don't change that through time because that will cause problems. This is the underlying foundation. Now, of course, I expect you to criticize. I know that there's words that perhaps could be changed. I've always liked how you're very particular with your word usage, because it's very important to be on point, especially since I'm in the health field. I see the scientific point of view often, the more left brain.
Right.
I tend to over complexify things, sometimes go too much into detail.
I also like the spoken word because it allows you to refine concepts over time by speaking to someone.
Right.
I have not preferred myself the printed word as a medium, only because traditionally this knowledge was taught from mouth to ear, and the written word is very static, whereas the spoken word is living. And once you put it into printed form, it has to be so precise and exact. Okay, so one of the things I find is texting is imprecise. Text messages. For example, if I, want a task done, I often have to send multiple text messages to refine exactly what I am asking for in a task. Whereas if I just pick up the phone and call someone, I could explain to them relatively quickly what I need, and we can go back and forth until we refine the idea and get it down to its essence. Yes. And then it's understood better. So you don't have to say to me that don't take the wording as, definitive, it is exact, because I fully understand that, and I understand that is the challenge with printed word, which is why I've made video and audio the medium for expression here at What on Earth is Happening, because I think that people learn. I'm not discounting the power of books or printed word. And in many cases, when you don't have digital technology available, you have to go back to the printed word and paper. And that's very important to keep those mediums going. But I think it is a much more powerful learning methodology to teach online via video and audio, rather than having people have to interpret things via the written word. There are many people who learn good with reading, learn very well with reading, I should say. But for me, the actual vibratory energy of the spoken word is where the real communication of first principles occurs in a deep, fundamental way. It's not through printed word.
Exactly, and that's what I'm doing with people too, one-on-one, is talking to them directly, and I encourage other people to do the same. I don't call the people who do this either as leaders, I call them guides. Part of being a quote-unquote health coach is sort of here with this movement is kind of bring everybody to be their own coach, because I believe everybody should be coaches of one another, right? Everybody has a social life, so it's a crucial part of their health.
Sure.
But we can all guide each other in the right direction. We don't tell people what to do,
right? And
we see all the repercussions of that and all the reasons why we don't have to go into detail with that.
Exactly.
But you mentioned so many good points there, and then you also mentioned nature, right? You mentioned looking at the nature as to why somebody does this and why somebody does that, or nature as in some people like to refer to it as their God. It's a universal religion, if you will. So this movement is called Nature is the Answer. And so I do have labels behind this sort of underlying ideas, right? And generally speaking, I have a process to this. I even have diagrams that I could always share with people. And I wouldn't mind showing my face in person also, since I've also done that in my videos. I feel like it is more personable. And what is going to be the most guiding force here is actually using a human nature. And I'm sorry if I'm using up too much time.
No, it's okay.
I'll try to make it.
Cory, what I want you to do is give your site to people again. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to check it out myself. And again, we are building an active network that is going to be coming up if we can get the right programmer, webmaster, coordinator. We're interviewing for that right now. If we can start to build out this operation, called the One Great Work Network, you're the kind of person that I want to come on the network and, who has projects like this to, either maybe, highlight this, maybe do presentations or vidcasts or even just audio podcasts. We're going to give content creators a part of the platform of the One Great Work Network to stream things that they want to stream in their segment weekly, and then also be content contributors to the website. And we're going to try to endeavor to keep it free. We're going to try to just do this and have everybody contribute and build a community that way. That's part of What on Earth is Happening's ways that we are going about building bridges between people and spreading the word. So let me give your website publicly again, and then I'll take a look at it, and we could talk about the potential for you having being on the One Great Work Network. This is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for, folks. People who are doing their own aspect of the great work, putting it out there publicly, and then we could all make a huge effort of a conglomeration, a federation, if you will, of people who are doing this, and put it all in one huge repository of knowledge, and stream it all 24/7. Where everybody would have a little bit of time each week to contribute and make it a 24/7 streaming network. That's my vision for it anyway in the near future. So go ahead and do that, and then I will go to some other calls. But I want to thank you for taking the time to put an effort like that together and explain it to people. So tell them where they can find your site.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds beautiful. The site is NITA.ONE, NITA.ONE, and that's for Nature is the Answer. It's
Nice.
the one unifying blueprint. I believe, by the way, this is the most universal, most unifying way we can bring together humanity and transition them from the state they are now to the perfect state of freedom, or the closest thing to a quote-unquote utopia, which is simply living in accordance to nature, that being the natural law, natural medicine, and all things of the such.
Well said. I mean, that's really what it's all about. That's the ultimate goal. Cory, thank you so much for all of that and your insights and your efforts. That's what doing the great work is all about. So
yeah, thank you too.
Absolutely. Have a great one. See, that's it, folks. It's about getting involved. It's not about sitting on the sidelines and watching other people and patting them on the back and going, "Great job, man! Great job." That's not going to get us there. Not going to get us there. Getting involved with courage and right action and putting it out there publicly is what's going to get us there.
People don't realize the deception that's going on in the world today as I am speaking, and how much is able to happen that is negative that many people don't want to consider. Many things that have happened in past generations perhaps we may not learn for the future. It's important to look at, of course, right? But the thing is, we have to question, well, why is the world the way it is? And then we also have to ask ourselves, well, what's the bigger truth to this world? Why does the world have to be the way it is? And do we have to get into this long, lengthy discussion of speculation about it? Or could we keep it rather simple and pass down a message for generations that will work and keep it more self-sustainable? And shall there ever be a threat, there's always an answer that you can rely on, that is easy to remember. Something that relates to truth, as much truth as you can, at least for a phraseology. Now, we're going to get into what I mean by this. And I'm going to keep it real simple, because this is the biggest thing that I feel like I have to present to people. I really do. People don't realize how much anger one can have, or confusion, or a doubt or regret one can have over the situation that can manifest into something much worse. Because when one person sees what's going on in this world, by observation it could be simple after a while, but hard to come to terms with immediately. You have to eliminate boundaries like you are when you are to achieve good health. It is hard to do that. It is hard to even portray what is the truth once you decipher evil from life. So I think it's important to go over what I believe can be a solution given we create a movement out of it. And yes, it will take strong voices. Yes, it will take many people. And many people indeed we will need to get out of this mess of, well, even subliminals and things we've created for ourselves that don't need to be in existence. I'm not saying that we should live among the trees and live in the woods, but it's no doubt that that will heal us. What exactly do I mean when I say nature's the answer? Well, you're going to find out. Right as you see is a presentation that I have on this. I'm going to keep it real simple as it can possibly be. And you know what? It should be simple. We've created a very complex world for ourselves, and I believe in this wholeheartedly. I did not take this from anybody. The only things that I am taking, and I will gladly share, is the stuff on natural law, which I don't teach. Mark Passio teaches, and I suggest people check that out if they are truly interested in knowing more in depth. But a simple message that a lot of people can abide to, regardless of where they are and where they stand, that will promote truth, regardless of where we are and where we stand, is I feel like what we'll need, especially for generations ahead, of uncertainty for what can happen to them or their children or their generations ahead. So, right as you see is the flag for NITA, or NITA, or NITA. Nature's the answer. Simple, right? White flag with a sun looking like tree. You can see an N, you can see an I, you can see a T, and you can see an A. I'm going to keep this real simple. You came here to learn more, keeping it short, sweet, and simple. Why nature is the answer? What do we do with this? Why should I represent this? What do I tell others? The next slide right here is going to tell you everything you need to know. Okay? So, why join the NITA movement? Representation, which is free, of course, allows people to see a demonstration of a movement, but also question what such demonstration is. See, like any phrase, for example, nature's the answer is a phrase, so it can be something that people don't know what it means. This is meant to start a conversation, meant to create a little bit of confusion that is necessary out of just allowing the brain to exercise, the thing that burns the most calories, FYI. Okay? And so this is a movement dedicated to real lifelong change. I believe this to be the case. I believe you can apply the truth to much of everything, and the truth is all around us. You don't need to be of a particular religion or anything like that. This is just simply a movement based on an idea, of which many people will take many ways, of course, but we can keep it very simple. See, the simple promotion of question, conversation, and thought will help innovate society, because then we will be critically thinking, which is missing. We would be challenging the mainstream, which anytime we challenge the current, we create innovation, and we'd be creating common sense, which again is also missing from society, given you are somebody who already did a lot of introspection and observation of the world around us. If you have not, that is perfectly fine. But I am offering here something that I wish to receive nothing upon for myself. I mean, this is not of ego. This is not of me wanting to be a leader, even though I believe blood type O, and I have more leadership-like traits in my family. You know, maybe then it's my destiny to bring this information to you, but this is something that we can all abide to, and it's not about me, it's about you, it's about all of us. Okay? Enough of them, enough of these particular people, or I'm a this, I'm a that. Rather, what is the idea? What is the message? What is the bigger picture? That is the truth, right? This is the end goal. Setting example for world and generations. The end goal is to create. Okay, the reason why nature is the answer. Promotion of the intended, lost, truth, or present. The reasons among this is the denaturing of our world, the great healing power of nature, the simplicity of nature, natural law being violated, okay, because it is by man's law and man's medicine often. We can understand behavior and consequences to action. Shall we look at the nature as to why someone reacts the way they do, or the nature of a human being, for example. We can be more at peace with simplicity and fulfilling simple needs of nature, such as food, water, survival, reproduction. These things that have held their time up to this point are sometimes being compromised as we don't know who to marry, and fertile rates are growing, and stuff like that. We must be alert, especially for future generations. Next we see we can create real change based on indisputable, universal, eternal, innate truth. Okay, indisputable means something that a lot of people cannot disagree with. Okay, something that most people can agree with given enough understanding and reasoning, which we all have the ability to do so given our conscious willpower as human beings. Okay, universal, works all throughout the world, eternal, through all of time, innate, meaning it's here, and truth, which simply is. Lessening government demands and implications, as we see government has an increasing role upon our life and often grows in a cycle among people falling to the beliefs of statism, or other isms, shall we say. The belief that people have the moral right to rule over you and your property is often seen as absurd by those who claim to be anarchists. Okay? I'm not telling you to claim to be anybody, but rather see the government demands and implications in that nature does not ask that of you. Okay, nature may have requirements, of course, especially if you want to achieve what you want to achieve. However, it's not going to add on to you as a responsibility or an extra obligation that comes with consequences often and is backed by violence, frankly. Shall you not obey the law, man's law? Then we have promote ability to do as born or intended, and upheld human and natural rights. That is what I believe can sum up as simple as possible the reason why nature is the answer. To do as we are intended, as much as simple as that sounds, and how one would like to change that. What we are to be intended is quite simple, right? The reproduction, the eating, the drinking, the loving. Okay, but we lose that side to ourselves given perhaps if you look at the nature of power itself, or the nature of one ruling over another, or being in a position where perhaps you shouldn't be, or experiencing what one hasn't experienced. You're going to have different feelings come from that. You're going to have different emotions. Your whole self could be changed due to your experiences, due to your ideas. And the idea here is to understand all the other ideas that exist, given looking at the nature of each one of those ideas. And again, to keep it real quite simple, it's like nature is the answer. What is simple? What is simply? What is simply outdoors? The nature, the trees. It's simple when we look at it. It can be far more complex, shall we look deep into it. It's our choice. And so nature means the innate and or God and or world and or universe and or intended or the righteous, I like to say. Okay? Then there's natural law, which is inherent conditions that cannot be changed and they're not created by humankind. In case you want to say nature is the answer among learning natural law. Like, why should we make man's law and man's, implications upon other human beings? Shall we not understand the laws of the universe first and what overrides all of that? Because to face it, man's law is not universal. It is not eternal. It has to change through time as every society goes through different experiences and has different things like technology, for example. Okay, so it can't be necessarily the same, but natural law is always around us. Okay, so despite there being many conditions, the message as mission, mission as message, keeps this quite simple. Seeking truth and doing what's right equals striving as a working representation of truth. So basically what this is saying is if you do the right thing, that's an example of truth, and that is the nature is the answer movement. Okay, it's as simple as doing the right thing and knowing you're doing the right thing and questioning what is the right thing. Obviously questioning what is truth that comes with that. And we can be a representation of truth, and therefore through karmic law, natural law, we receive what we give out. Right? The law of attraction, perhaps, is also called natural law. And so if we want good things to come to us, we got to do good things to the universe. And certainly when you have people in power who perhaps I'd like to call are denatured, you're going to create a denatured reality to keep their denatured reality afoot. And in case you don't understand what that means, is if they're denatured and they create the world around them because they believe they are God, and there's no such thing as nature, there's no such thing as God or the world, the universe, and this natural law because they don't learn it, or natural medicine because, again, doctors don't learn it, then they can move the world in any direction shall they choose because people are complicit with that. They believe in them as being human, as being of nature, when in fact they are denatured. And when they put their belief in these people who are denatured, they could become denatured themselves, or they will face the major implications of the denatured, which is, of course, death and evil, and forms of evil, like theft, okay? And so imagine what we can do if we bring the minds and hearts of many together and know how to use it. See, this movement offers a binding message to those who want to do good and want to know how to keep and share such good. Okay, just imagine what we can do when we take brilliant minds or people who have great reasoning and understanding of many different subjects but aren't on the public eye. There's many people in history who aren't in the history books. Just imagine what we can do, and so I'll keep it at that. Nature is the answer. I hope you can agree. Okay, and so I encourage you to take this logo I have here and share this, print it, okay? I'm going to have stuff in the description. I want you to share this and fly it around, give it to all your neighbors. If we can show a demonstration and people question, what is this demonstration? Then we can talk more about what the answer really is. It's not dependence on government. It's actually independence from government and starting to realize who we are as part of nature. Nature is the answer. What does the logo, color, and flag mean? Okay, so we got a lantern, which means light in the dark, for example. Bridges, which means connection. We got hourglass, which means it's time. Like, it's time to do something. It's also a matter of time till things can manifest. Then we have a tree, because we could branch from subject to subject, and it also represents growth. Trees represent many things. We have the sun, which is the ripple effect from one person giving to another, healing one another. It's life-giving instead of evil-giving. Okay, person. Okay, there's a person in the logo. You see those little blue streaks here. That's a person. Okay, because we pretty much are the tree, for example. Okay, and then we have the elements. You know, you have here you have the soil, the earth. You have water. You have air. You have fire. Okay, you have all that there. Okay, and so those are the tools, those are the resources we use to create the reality around us, right? Because there's always resources that it's up to us on how to use it and know how to use it. So to complete the circle, okay, it says to complete circle because you'll notice there's a little spot here where the circle is complete because there's always work to be done. And it's a resemble of cycle, but also whole, balance, unity, and the perfect archetype of the circle. Okay, so also keep in mind colors are representative accordingly. So, you know, the tree and the fire and the elements. And if you're looking at the white flag, it's to awaken. It's simple, it's open, it's whole, it's clarity, it's completion, it's unity. Okay, that is what this means. And so I hope you agree with Nature is the Answer. My logo I have here, my message, my mission for humanity, and our mission, frankly. Like I said, it's really something we all have to do, and in a world where such chaos happens and more, perhaps, little by little, our rights are taken away, we must stand up. And so please share this video with everyone you know so we can create a movement ground up with nothing that's violent, nothing that is invasive, nothing that goes against people's belief systems that I see. Because nature is all around us. Nature we can abide to. Nature heals us, frankly. And oh my gosh, I'm Nature Boy hugging a tree, but to be honest, I believe it's the answer to the techno-tyranny that's growing, to the growing governments that, again, use man's law, man's medicine. So please, share your thoughts. Share your thoughts. And if you are part of the movement, then you can still fly the flag, even if you don't agree with everything I say 100%, but you believe in the premises that nature's the answer, right? In the fact of the reasons that I mentioned here, mostly for the denaturing of our world, simplicity, okay? Wanting to just live your life and, not be influenced by these big foreign powers that seek to control our life. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you had an open mind to this, and I encourage, if you share this with people, you tell them to do the same. Thank you very much for watching and listening. This is Cory Endrulat. Nature is the answer. Thank you.